Everybody hear me okay? Yes, that's the Zoom greeting of the moment. Can you hear me okay? Excellent. Thank you. All right. Well, I wanted to start today by acknowledging the power of just making one new choice. And what we think of when there's so much to be changed is that, oh, I get overwhelmed by everything that needs to be done. And I forget that one choice at a time, I can really make a difference in my own experience and the experience of others. And so, just as you're sitting there or standing there, I'd like you to just make one change, this one change in your body. And then take a moment to enjoy that, just making one change. So, like I was noticing that my shoulders were slightly forward, and so I'm going to do a little oozing through my shoulders. Notice any part of your body that's contracted right now, feels contracted, more pulled in or tight or flat. And let yourself give some loving attention to that. In fact, just give some love scoops to that, reaching out, bringing in some love scoops. And then as you're experiencing those love scoops, just make one change in that part of your body. Just make one change. And then notice the experience of presence or more aliveness or just more, oh, I'm being with myself. And then let your attention go out around you, any place that you can see where it feels like things are just more compressed, a little bit tighter. And I'd like you to give a love scoop out. So gather up and give a love scoop out and let it land. Ah, so the power of making just one change and then letting that reverberate and then making just one change. Because as we've said, the purpose of our work is both to reveal essence and to help us to move from fear to love through presence. And so as you're giving attention to you now, let yourself notice any place inside of you where you haven't felt quite as present. And as I'm doing that, I can feel that my body wants to wiggle. Almost always, one of the fear melters is going to help open space. So I can feel around my spine and especially around my sacrum that it's wanting a wiggle. So as I move a wiggle through, that also is one shift. So find any place in you that could benefit from sending a little wiggle through it. And the very act of shifting your attention is that one shift, is that new choice that can continue opening up your world, expanding your world, because we're coming to the time where we can start reclaiming space and sloughing off the fears and the traumas, not by pushing them away, but by loving them. And so our tendency for lots of centuries has been to contract in fear. And I would like us to learn how to expand into the open space that fear often represents. I want to back up here. I want to show you the bottom of my dress. This is kind of like when a kid says, I want to show you my belly. I want to show you the bottom of my dress because it has hearts and tulips on it, which are also a way that we can share with the world through how we choose to present ourselves, what I call dressing from essence. So let yourself keep alternating between, what's contracted in me, and then send a little either love scoops or a wiggle or an ooze through that place. And then letting your attention go out in any place where you're feeling that more space could be valuable. just giving your attention creates space. So letting yourself alternate between ah, giving your breath and space out and giving your breath and space inside. And as I'm doing that, I can feel more juice running through my body. And see if you're noticing that, if you're feeling more juiciness. There are places that we hardly ever think about, like armpits, that serve us so well. So let yourself actually do a love scoop into your armpit. Ah, I sometimes like to, especially if my hands are cold, I do love scoops into my armpits. And there's something that's really very huggy about that. And I can tell my armpits are going, thank you, thank you. I do lots of stuff for you, and you hardly ever pay any attention to me. Wonderful. And then sending that sense of more liveliness out into the world. Ah, and then back to you, any place where, like your ankles, our ankles and our feet do so much for us. And, we just, most of us take them for granted. And so, how about doing a little sumo bouncing into your feet? So that's lifting your ankles and then just going, bum, 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 just letting that reverberate through you. And I consider this another, it's kind of a sumo wiggle. But when I do the, and actually let yourself make whatever sound comes as you're doing that, and see what else that leads to. And then again, pause and just notice the flow of aliveness in you and whether that has you be expanding more. And it's also fine to come into be with yourself, but see if from you can meet yourself from the inside. So as you're doing love scoops, let your awareness meet the touch from the inside, so that you let your consciousness feel your hands from the inside. So like when I have my hands here, I can feel the reverberation of my voice. And that feels really wonderful. I can feel it vibrating me. So notice say something about, just make some sounds and see if you can feel that vibration in you, because we're so outward focused with our attention that all of the liveliness and play that's going on in our bodies can really benefit from our added attention. Ah, yes. And now notice when you're looking out, if there's any new way that you want to be giving your attention, because you can let your attention fan out. You can let your attention be very pointed towards something that you really want to give your attention to. You can let your attention be oscillating. You can let your attention be moving around. So let yourself play with one or more of those, of giving attention out and then giving attention in. I like to think of attention sometimes as a sprinkler or a hose. So if you think of all of the different ways that we apply water, so imagine your attention being like one of those oscillating sprinklers that gives attention to you and then gives attention out into the world. Okay, or you can have one of those ones that goes so you can really let your attention go out very forcefully. Yeah, big water sprouts and then big sprouts to you. You can have that wave. I don't know if you saw that there's this wonderful video of sea lions surfing these huge waves off Santa Barbara Island. And they have these big jumps and then these big diving into the water. So your attention can be huge and powerful and also delicate and precise. So let yourself play with letting your attention oscillate, as a sprinkler as a wave that goes out and settles, and a wave that comes back and settles over you. And adding your breath. So you let your breath, let it settle. And then when you're letting it oscillate out, you let your breath follow. And I want to invite you through this week to have one of the changes that you play with to be changing your orientation in space. So that I noticed in this last week, my body gave me very clear signals. You need to stand up every 15 or 20 minutes. And I've been following that. Sometimes I have a little timer, and sometimes I just notice, okay, time to stand up now. Because one of the things we can do is get entranced and out here and forget to bring attention back to, what is my body wanting right now? So, one thing I want to invite you to do is to just simply make one change. So every 15 minutes or so, because I know when I'm in computer mode, I get sort of forward, and I'm focused on the thing, I'm thinking about it, and I can feel that my breath gets narrowed, and I'm definitely forward of myself. And so if we think, if I make a change, I'm going to forget what I was thinking about, or I'm going to lose focus on the project. My experience is actually that I increase my ability to be present. So, my invitation is to let yourself play with just making one new choice every 15, 20 minutes. I know it's made a huge difference for me in a couple of ways. One is that I get more intuition. I get these little thoughts that pop through because they come in the open space. They don't come when you've got lots of static going on. So as I'm creating space, I get these creative ideas and intuitions, and the sense of, oh, I ought to contact my friend. And I contact, and they had just been thinking of me. So it will get you more into alignment with what's your purpose? What are you? How can you contribute today? How can you be a source of connection, both for yourself and for others? So, with your awareness now, I'd love for you to give attention to you. And then I'd like you to give attention to other people who are on the call. I'd like you to specifically look for somebody that you don't know. You go, oh, who's that? I don't know you. And I'd like you to give your curious attention to that person and let your awareness circle around them and then back to you. So you can send love scoops to them and then love scoops back to you. And then find somebody else that you didn't know before you came on the call today and let your awareness go out and circle them. You might even, I was thinking about doing a little hello, and then back to you. And then see if there's anybody else that you don't know that you can give attention to. And find a new way of giving attention to that person, and then giving attention back to you. Beautiful, beautiful. So by making just one new choice, we can continue expanding our ability to presence, to love ourselves, to love others as we're entering into this new possibility of creating our lives differently. Let's all keep breathing. Keep breathing. So you can unmute yourself and make noises. And I'm going to be and saying hello to people. I'm going to be leaving in just a moment. And you're totally welcome to stay on the call and chat and ask questions. Michelle, you'll be here for a little bit? Great, super. So, thank you so much. And
thank you,
until
Katie.
next time.
Thank you.
Thank
you, Katie.
Bye.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.